Afraid of world building? Start with one object. World building sounds intimidating. After all, you're not just creating a character or a story, you're creating an entire world, fantasy kingdoms, alien civilizations, magic systems, religions, politics, economies. Before you know it, you've got 50 pages of notes and nothing to actually show for it. Or worse, you're so overwhelmed you don't even start. So here's a trick I use. Instead of building an entire world, start only with a single object. You know, one object can tell you surprisingly much about the world it came from. And today, I'll show you how. A lot of creators approach world building in a backward way. They start with massive timelines, complicated magic systems, and like 5,000 years of history nobody will ever read. Now, don't get me wrong, that stuff can be fun, creation is fun, but it's also a fantastic way to spend weeks building a world you will actually never use. And you basically spend so much time preparing that you never get started. Instead, try creating one important object from your world. Think of it as a mirror. A good object reflects culture, technology, values, fears, problems of the people who created it. And because it's only one object, you can test ideas very quickly. Maybe you're torn between like a fantasy world and like a dystopian sci-fi setting. So don't spend 3 months building both. Create one iconic object from each world. Then ask yourself, which one feels more interesting? Which one sparks story ideas? Which one makes me want to keep on building? Now let me show you what I mean. For my webcomic universe and storytelling project Demons Eat Concrete, I wanted a modern city infected by demonic corruption. Not just the people, the products too, the advertisements, the culture, everything. So I created an energy drink called Nox. It's wildly popular with young people, and it's addictive as hell. And depending on whom you ask, it may actually contain actual demonic particles. Now I could have stopped there, but the fun part is actually asking questions. What would a demonic energy drink look like? Well, instead of a sleek Red Bull can, I imagined something more organic, something unsettling, something partly inspired by H.R. Giger, the designer who created Alien. Kind of like dark roots twisting across the surface like veins. The can looks a little less manufactured and almost like grown. And when you open it, you don't drink it. A red mist explodes out of the container and forces its way into your mouth and lungs. And a few moments later, you feel incredible. You also hear voices. You might start floating, and you might become a little bit aggressive and weirdly interested in people, and not in a good way. And then eventually, if you keep on using it, the corruption starts to show. Naturally, the stuff isn't sold in supermarkets. It's passed around at private parties. It's replaced alcohol and other substances. And because that's happening, it attracts the attention of Creed, which is like a semi-private agency tasked with fighting demonic outbreaks. And one of my characters, Stick, gets assigned to track down those Nox dealers. Which means a simple energy drink suddenly creates criminals, investigations, raids, corruption, conflict, and story opportunities. All from one object. Now pause for a second. Look at how much world building came out of a single can. I didn't need a history book. I didn't need a story Bible. I didn't need a 12-page magic system. I just needed one thing that represented the world. World building doesn't have to start with continents and timelines. Sometimes it starts with a can of a demonic energy drink, or a coin, or a weapon, or a toy. Pick one object that reflects the theme of your world. In Demons Eat Concrete, that theme is corruption. Mental corruption, physical corruption, social corruption. Everything grows from that idea. And maybe your fantasy world revolves around greed. What would its currency look like? Could the coins literally drain life from whoever touches them? Or maybe you're building a military sci-fi setting. What would a fast food meal look like in a society built for war? Maybe the burger comes in an ammo crate. Maybe the toppings contain combat stimulants. Or maybe eating lunch feels like preparing for battle. Start with one object and the world will follow. Your turn. Think about the world you want to create. Fantasy, sci-fi, horror, doesn't matter. Now create one object that could only exist in that world. Sketch it, write about it, design it. You might be surprised how much world building appears as a side effect. And if you enjoyed this video, check out the other world building character design videos I'm linking below. I am Mars Dorian, a visual storyteller from Berlin. I create character design, RPG art, world building projects, and webcomics. What do you think about my idea, honestly? Is it a stepping stone to easy world building? Is it BS or too simplistic? Or maybe something that's somewhat useful and can be built upon? Drop a comment.